going on, everyone? So the first preseason game was a little rough for the Lakers, but again, at the end of the day, it's preseason. It's not about the wins and losses. It's about what are the goods that we can continue to grow and build on going into the regular season, and then what are the cons that we need to work on and improve. A lot of it was just not hitting shots. A lot of guys really struggled to make baskets. Also, I'm sure it didn't help that two of your three best playmakers were out of the game, right? So things weren't as fluid. It was a lot of isolation. There weren't as many sets, which could have also been part of just, hey, it's the first preseason game. Go out there and just play basketball and let's just kind of see what guys are capable of doing, rather than like, hey, let's have like this full structure. The refs were rough in this game, in full effect, and just even like the 0.6 seconds, that whole mess and debacle, it was not great. But again, there were some real bright spots in this game, Anthony Davis being one of those. Anthony Davis was fantastic. In 13 minutes, he gave you 15 points, 5 rebounds, gave you 2 of 3 from 3, which is something that has been talked about heavily in the training camp, that Anthony Davis, his 3-point shot has came back, that he's able to knock it down out on the perimeter again, which would be fantastic if that could be the case. I don't want him taking a bunch of 3-point shots. I don't want him taking, 5, 6, 7 threes a game. But if he takes 3 or 4 and he knocks down like 2 a game, or, goes 1 of 3 or whatever, I'd be okay with that, right? Just the ability to stretch the floor again, even if he's not shooting crazy elite, but just enough to where it's respectable, to where teams actually have to go out and challenge it, because if he knocks that down, it could change the tide of the game. He was aggressive, he was physical, he was basically getting whatever he wanted. He only played, again, 13 minutes, which was expected, right? You're not playing any of these guys heavy minutes. Even D'Lo, who only played 16 minutes. D'Lo was fantastic with 15 points, 5 assists, 6 of 10 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, and he looked in so much control and so much demand. I want to do a video dedicated just to D'Lo because he looked very different. Like, his first step was a lot quicker. He just seemed a lot more in command, right? His playmaking and the way he was getting guys going. I was really impressed with DAngelo Russell this game. He just looked more comfortable. It's probably the best way to put it. Also, you got to keep in mind, he was injured going into that playoffs. So I wonder if that was a little bit that kind of hindered him. But he also looked a little more just slimmed down and just ready for the season. And that's something that I love to see. But also, him only playing 16 minutes kind of goes back into what I talked about a moment ago of like, your 3 main playmakers are D'Lo, Austin Reeves, and LeBron James. Austin Reeves and LeBron James didn't play, and D'Lo only played 16 of 48 minutes. So that basically leaves you with no real playmaker out on the court for pretty much the rest of the game, because you had Jalen Hood-Schifino, who we'll talk about shortly. He's not that wizard with the basketball yet, and he was kind of more focused on going and getting his rather than setting other guys up and actually playing the point guard role. And then Gabe Vincent, who he only played 20 minutes, but even him, I've talked about him repeatedly this offseason and how he's not a great playmaker. He is an excellent just point guard in the mold of like what we need in replace of like a Dennis Schroeder, and just kind of playing in that role that LeBron James point guards have had success. Think of like an Avery Bradley, a Norris Cole, Mario Chalmers, a George Hill, those kind of guys, where they're kind of just 3-and-D style point guards. They're not necessarily great playmakers because LeBron has always been the playmaker. Well, again, now you don't have any of your playmakers. You kind of get into this like where it just becomes ISO heavy and a little clunky and stuff, which I do expect that to kind of get hashed out once we get to the actual regular season and some of these playoff games. But Jared Vanderbilt, he looked fantastic. I mean, he was rebounding the ball well. He still needs to do a better job of finishing around the rim. He had a couple times where he just, fumbled the bag once again, but gave you 6 points, and all 6 of them were from three-point range, which was great. He looked more confident in his three-point shot. He wasn't hesitant or anything like that. He got the corner three, boom, put it up. And that's what I want to see. Like, just don't think about it. Shoot the ball, right? Like, like last season, there would be times where it just kind of seemed like he was in his own head. And it's just like you start overthinking and overanalyzing your three-point shots. And it's like, trust your shot. Trust the thing. Even if you miss it, it's better than just not taking the shot or, second guessing the shot. Like, hurry up. Guys are in position. Shoot the ball, right? And I love that. If he can, I don't need him to be 40% from three. Just, again, be serviceable, right? Just be good enough to where teams have to now start challenging you out on the perimeter. That's going to open up so much more for the Lakers offense. And now you have a legit 3 and elite level D on the court, right? Like, the problem with Jared Vanderbilt last year is was our worst offensive player. I mean, you can make an argument he's still our worst offensive player, but he's so good defensively, it's hard not to want to keep him on the court. But then our offense gets stagnant, and it's like, well, what do? Well, we got to take Jared Vanderbilt now. But if now he can just be serviceable on putting the ball in the hoop, well, then now you can run him more, you can play him more, you can rely on him more and trust him more in that regard. Rui Hachimura, another guy that had a solid game, wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. He struggled a little bit, but also in his defense, if you actually watch the game, every time Rui got into the post or got into the lane, they would like double or triple team him as if he was Anthony Davis. So, and I'm sure that was something he wasn't expecting at all. So, again, I'm sure that was a little bit of a, shell shock for him to an extent. But Max Christie was an absolute just standout. He looked every bit like we had hoped. All of the just game that we saw in Summer League, all of the talks throughout training camp, all of the news that the Lakers are super high on him and believe that he's the next big thing. And he looked like it. He just was really confident, showed the ability to be a legit 3-level scorer. He's excellent defensively. He could be a great two-way player for us. 15 points, 2 rebounds and assists, 6 of 10 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, got a steal, only turned the ball over once. I mean, this is a guy that, it's 20 years old, but he played with some maturity, right? He was able to just kind of get his shot off at will, get to the basket at will. He's definitely bulked up a little bit. Got some good size on him. I mean, he still needs to kind of grow and develop into his man body, but that'll come. I mean, I've talked about it. Like, you could hide Max Christie for the next 4 years and he'd still be younger than pretty much everyone on the roster right now, right? That has value, right? He has the potential to be a real player this year and for the foreseeable future. I really love what we saw from Max Christie, and I hope that continues, right? Because it's based on the way it's shaping up, Christie and Reddish are the two that are kind of competing for that shooting guard spot, that backup spot. Max Christie showed like he's ready. He looks ready. He looks poised. He looked confident. His shot looks like absolute butter. That mid-range is just beautiful. His ability to get to the rim. Again, he showed that he's already a legit 3-level scorer, that he can get to the rim, he can knock down the mid-range, create a shot, shoot off dribble, knock down, catch and shoot 3, whatever you need him to do, he's capable of doing. He even said after the game that, he's really comfortable defending 1 through 4, but he's willing to do whatever you need. I love it. He's got good size, good length, all the tools to be an excellent player in this league, and I'm really looking forward to him. Jackson Hayes was a pleasant surprise. I've talked about this before. He's a guy that box score wise, if you're looking for him to, light it up and be just, 20, 10, 5, and 5 or something like that, that's not happening. But the hustle, the energy, the just, sacrificing his body, diving for loose balls, like stuff like that, the little things that go unnoticed, he was doing it all, and this is preseason, right? Like he was diving for loose balls, constantly being a threat at the rim, which is what you want, which is what you need, right? That rim pressure, having Austin Reeves, D'Lo, LeBron, those guys be able to just create and always have Hayes as that lob threat is, I think, gonna open up a lot for the Lakers, because it's just gonna put so much pressure on these other teams, because now you're gonna have to be so worried of like, I can't leave Hayes because next thing you know, they're just gonna get an easy dunk, and what do I do? And you just kind of put the defense in a compromised position. That's what you want to do. So Jackson Hayes, I think he's a guy that I could see him having some real impact this year. I don't know how much he plays, but he played 15 minutes. Even if he's playing 15 minutes, like if he gave us the stat line he gave us today for the rest of the season, I think that's perfect. 5 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 15 minutes of play, gave us a steal, right? Give us a block here and there, right? Don't turn the ball over, take care of the ball, but just be high energy. That's fine, right? Because not everybody's going to give you 20 a night, right? Not everyone's going to average a bunch of points, but you need those grinders. You need those guys that are willing to do the dirty work. Jackson Hayes seems to be that guy. And then lastly, Cam Reddish. Disappointed to say the least, right? He just was really sloppy out there. Just didn't look comfortable. Looked like a guy that was trying to do too much rather than just kind of letting the game come to him. He was out there trying to, force his game. Just a lot of careless turnovers. And, I know on paper he only was accounted for 2 turnovers, but if you actually watch the game, just a lot of just like carelessness and him kind of just losing his dribble or getting stripped. And, a couple times he got bailed out, but it's just, he was rough. I don't expect him to be this bad every game, but it's definitely something that I'm a big fan of Reddish, super high on Reddish. I think he has all the tools and potential to be great. I just, wanted to see a little more. And I just felt like he was rough. He was rough, but I don't want to put too much on him just because, again, he wasn't the only one that was rough. Like pretty much everybody outside of like 4 guys was really good, right? So I'm willing to kind of chalk it up as a bad game. It sucks that he got hurt, right? He rolled his ankle. Hopefully he bounces back. I imagine he doesn't play the next preseason game or whatever, but I want to see this kid have success. 6'8", hyper athlete, can just do so much. Defensively, he was excellent in my opinion. He was really getting after it on the defensive side, which is what you want, right? Like some of these guys you see, and it's like if they're not scoring the basketball, they're not any good out there, right? Like for example, like let's say Lonnie Walker last season, right? Lonnie Walker, when he was a bucket, you keep him out there on the court, made sense. But when he wasn't providing you any offense, it's like, well, we can't play him. Same thing with like Malik Beasley last year, right? When we got him, it's like, when he's on, he'd go get you 25, right? Just shoot the lights out. But when he's not, he's literally unplayable out there. At least guys like D'Lo and stuff like that, like if they have bad games, they can still impact the other way. Like D'Lo can still set other guys up. All right, my shot's not falling. Let me go get 10 assists. Right? It's like, what else can you do besides score the basketball? In Cam Reddish, he showed his ability to just defend and switch and just be a real impact on that side. That is one of the positives that I liked from him. But I hoping to see more. Right? He's worked very hard this all offseason. He's put on some weight. I'm okay with just kind of writing it off as like, okay, it was just a rough game. It was a bad game. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What'd you think? How'd you feel about the game? Again, don't get too high, too low on preseason. Even if the Lakers win their next game by 40, like, let's, it's preseason. It's not so much about the wins and losses. We've seen Laker teams that have been terrible in preseason and won NBA championships, and we've seen Laker teams that have been fantastic in preseason and won NBA championships or didn't win NBA championships, right? So preseason is not the be-all, end-all, right? The Warriors also played their starters. Again, we didn't have any playmakers or anything like that, so it's just got to take everything as it is, right? But anyway, love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Let me know down in the comments.